Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi, welcome to the Political Dice.
MPC ebyobufuzi.
It's controversial,
Purely political,
well researched,
accurate and global.
Oyagala bya parliament oba council.
Yes, state house oba ghetto.
Ani ayuga ku ground.
Ani gwe babuze.
Okimanyi nga Dr. Kizza Besigye aleesa amaanyi.
Olwofadda bafutoli abateesemu obuvaazi.
Oba yo DP eri kuki?
Olwojema.
Bano ba MKCG bo baddawa.
Abo bafuna CDF bamala tebabanja. Olwo baba ate bange bali kuki?
Abo bo akina kulabisa simayanga posturing tebabiri bali mu structure building. Naye ate ono ye.
Ani oyo oba?
Ye ali kuki?
Oyo tumuleketa gamba mpanyiga mawu.
Ebe ndabena birindira no ku the Political Dice ku the Alternative Dig Talk nange Teddy Tenjo ewamune.
Farida Bikobere
Buli wa Sunday
sawa biri.
At first, we hit your gadgets with our state-of-the-art digitalized mobile studio with the debate on the road behind the wheels. Later, we launched our magnificent studios located on Plot 1A, Sewagude Close, Lukulinanganda, Machindye, Kampala, where we bring to you our must-watch shows like The Mighty Drive, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m., Hotline, Mondays, 7 p.m. As for legal matters, Twins at Bar, Tuesdays, 11 a.m., Wednesdays, 6 p.m. is Afro-Caribbean Link, where we connect Africa with the Caribbean. Voltage on Thursdays, 7 p.m., featuring a youthful panel. Interface with Dr. Kizza Besigye every Friday, 12 p.m. with his call to action against injustices. Snap Talk, Saturdays, 6 p.m. with the trio. A must-watch, The Political Dice, Sundays, 8 p.m. with the duo that never stammers, and so much more. Watch us live on all our social media platforms. We are the Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Good evening, Uganda. Welcome to this edition of the Hotline Show. It's a Monday, and of course we are here to have a conversation with you. We promised every Monday evening to sit here, touch base on the issues that are happening in this country and of course across the globe. But we don't just have these conversations to pass time. We have these conversations to create constructive engagement that is going to metamorphose into a better Uganda. I welcome each and every one of you. Those who are watching us from here in Uganda, Kampala and other rural communities, thank you so much for tuning in. But we also have audiences from as far as the Middle East, people who are watching us from Dubai, Bahrain, and Abu Dhabi, and all those particular areas. We welcome you. We have people who are watching us from the United States of America. Thank you so much for tuning in. Kamoga Franklin from San Francisco and your team. It's always very, very good that you keep up, but also sometimes wake up very early to watch these particular insights. My name is Edgar Mathew Karuhanga. A lot of things are happening in the country as we speak. We are celebrating World Youth Day, so the entire world is coming together to commemorate the young people. Those are the people who are building a future, a next future for Uganda and of course the world. So today we are celebrating the young people. Maybe last week we had some unfortunate incidents, that is in Kiteezi, where 21 people lost their lives due to that rubbish falling and burying a few of them. So it's really unfortunate in that particular regard. We saw President Museveni coming out to award condolence. I think each family got 5 million condolence. Then those people who got injuries were able to get 1 million each. The teachers also continue their plight. I told you these days we have early retirement of teachers. I don't know why that is happening in the country, but many teachers are changing trade. And this comes at a time when the government is also increasing on the qualifications needed for a teacher. So that means for you to become a teacher, you will need a degree, a bachelor's degree in that particular field. Something that has raised a lot of voices and of course a lot of discussions and debates here and there. On a good note, Uganda won itself gold in the Olympics, courtesy of Cheptegei Joshua, a gentleman who has continued to flag Uganda on the international scene. Cheptegei has won a couple of gold medals in the 10,000 meter race. He did that in Paris, that was last week, but he has continued to do that in the World Marathon, athletics games. He won the 10,000 gold, 10,000 meters gold. He did that in Tokyo, Japan. In Tokyo, Japan, that is in 2020 as well. So Cheptegei has continued to flag the Uganda to the whole world to see. Though the challenge is this gentleman coming to that field or reaching that particular point, he has gone through a couple of challenges. He says government has not supported him in various ways. They promised him a racing track. Up to date, they have not constructed that track. In fact, it's Cheptegei who used his own resources and funds to build a racing track that is in Kapchora, something that is really, really saddening on the side of government. But Cheptegei continues to put our flag high. Then, of course, Peruth Chemtai, who was able to also scoop herself silver in the 3,000 meters. Congratulations to you too. Uganda continues to celebrate. And of course, the rest of the athletes from Uganda and from Africa. I've seen Kenya having around 11 medals, Ethiopia, South Africa. We are continuing to shine at the Olympics. That's something that you do not downplay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Hotline Show. My name is Edgar Mathew Karuhanga. Let's do this. We come back with the panelists of the day. Thank you. I'll start from my extreme right. A gentleman from Uganda People's Congress. He is a political activist and, of course, someone who has been candid to talk about the issues affecting Uganda. He's always here with us on the Hotline Show. That is Mr. Joseph Ochieno. You're welcome, sir. On my immediate right is Charles Kazooba. He is the Executive Director for the Center for African Affairs and Diplomatic Studies, CAADS. He's always here with us. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Karuhanga.
Okay. And maybe lastly, definitely not least, he is a lawyer by profession, Counsel Gideon Tugume. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks for hosting me. Not only being a lawyer, I'm also a journalist.
Wow.
Yes, and a financial analyst. I have tried to do everything possible so that I can be able to come and share with you.
That's very good. I'll start with you. How was your week?
The week was, Uganda, when you ask me how is my week, I don't know what I can tell you because there is no clear week in Uganda. Anytime you are either being, buried by the running garbage at Kiteezi, if you are living nearby Kiteezi. If not, you can be knocked down by the border, those ones who know Kampala. If not, you can fall in the pit, which is not covered in the roads. If not, you can die of hunger. If you don't die of hunger, you can be killed by tear gas or even a live bullet, because there are very many. So there are many issues that can take you in a week. So if you see a week that has gone in Uganda, you really praise the Lord. We actually now made several applications to God that if I come, please, you forgive me all what I've done. So in every day, I don't count myself on earth, because there are many issues that can easily take you by either proxy or directly. So my week has been of such a kind of way. I thank God I'm still alive. And I thank God that you invited me so that people can see me today. You never know whether tomorrow will be around or not, but at least I have appeared. Okay. So I thank you and I thank the management and those on camera and those in the studio for really inviting me. I appreciate even for speaking some English for some time. We always appear on Luganda and other local languages. So when I come and speak some English, I just remind myself what I studied. So I thank you for sure.
You're welcome. Maybe lastly, is there something that is working that you can say this is working in Uganda?
Prisons. The prison is working. Yes, for sure.
Yes.
No, for sure. For the prison, when they arrest you, the prison will welcome you. Whether it is Chitalia, whether it is Ruzira, the prisons are seriously working. That one is working, is functioning very well.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Tugume. Thank you, Charles. How was your week? Sorry for laughing. This submission really is funny.
First of all, we had a very terrible incident, that disaster at Kiteezi, Landfill, that has led to the death of almost 2 dozen of people. Very unfortunate incident. I think we are at pain as a country. I had expected the president to declare a day of national mourning because the disaster was really so bad. Up to now, today, we don't know how many have died. So I think the president should look at this as a very serious matter. He has not attended to the incident very carefully. I think he believes it is one of those usual incidents. That's why he was even blaming
Exactly, that's what
the people.
When you read his message, I think he reacted to the incident.
Yes.
And he was actually blaming the people.
You see, we have a problem. We have a problem. We have a president who does not listen to his handlers. He speaks the way it is, the way he feels it in his head. So whether it causes anger or not, he really doesn't care. And that is them 7. You see, first of all, may I blame him. His system of micromanagement, wanting to manage each and everything in this country, has stagnated progress. People in government no longer work because they fear. Are you going? What you are doing, is it going to impress the big man or not? Even the politicians, they have to keep reading the president's mind. What does it? How does he feel today? If I did this, am I creating an impression or not? Now that is where Uganda has reached. We have a big problem. It is even very much possible that the decision, for instance, to get another garbage landfill, or even to shift this one, probably somebody was waiting for the president to make a decision. That is very much possible. I saw the IGP and the IGG, for instance, direct the arrest of Nwabine, the spokesperson of KCCA. Apparently, he had told the KCCA people who had made the statements not to sign them. And I asked myself, why were they arresting him? It is to impress the president, of course. This gentleman from KCCA knows that there are procedures when it comes to serious criminal matters. So, rightly, I think he advised his people, please do not commit yourselves to something you don't understand. First of all, you don't even speak for KCCA. And he's right.
Yeah.
But you can see how the IGP and the IGG swung into action. Hey, it seems you're a criminal. Can you imagine? Everybody is wanting to please the president. And in any case, what was the IGG doing there? We have so many cases. I'm sure they have not even disposed the quota of cases this year. Law enforcement and the rescuers should have been allowed to take to handle that scenario.
Incident,
So that is the country we are in. We still have a problem that people can no longer work productively, constructively, because they always want first to please the
person of the
president.
president. Okay.
But also in addition,
Yes, as you conclude.
aside of the Kiteezi, You know, today is a Youth Day. So some time back I was pushing for how do youth benefit, especially those coming from university. So last week I engaged somebody from PPDA, and that person told me that they have taken an initiative. Young people can now register companies and bid for work, for contracts, without paying fees.
Without?
Young people and women are now exempted from paying fees, so for bidding to win contracts.
Government contracts in particular? Or?
Uganda, our system is that we all
No, it's
benefit
not.
from government.
It's not true.
That is why you see, when the government spends a month without clearing the budget, everybody is broke. We all get money from government. So our private sector largely depends on the government. That is a good thing. Now, what we have to push for next, we want URA to at least exempt taxes on all new entrants into private sector. Those that formally register, URA should not tax them at least for 5 years, because we have realized that most companies, most businesses do not celebrate their 5th year.
Their
You know
first,
what?
First
Yes.
birthday. They don't
The reason
celebrate their
mainly
first birthday
is
in this country.
taxes. They are charged as though they have been in business for 10 years. Yet most of these people have come from university. They are new. They have come together and registered an organization. They want to do some small business. Taxes wipe them out.
All right.
Yeah.
No problem. We're going to start from there because we're going to have a conversation on the World International Youth Day. Sir, you're welcome. Your opening remarks. If you can also highlight on the issue of Kiteezi.
I must say that I am here because this country enabled the youth and all previous UPC administrations,
Yes, sir.
starting from independence. And it's simply because of that that Museveni ever knew Uganda beyond Barara. But I'm also here because on my one day in primary school, I had the privilege to be a class monitor. And I'm also here because my student youth activism opened Africa and the world for me. And in part because of that, Museveni saw me as a threat in 1987 when they came from the dubious bushes and exiled me. But also because of those exposures, I was able to successfully sustain myself in exile and campaign to return multipartyism to where it is. So I think anything that we do to the youth of our country and this continent, and indeed of this globe, must be seen in that context. Unfortunately, NRA used children in Luweero, taught them bad manners, taught them to kill. Many of them remains permanently traumatized, set terrible precedent. And unfortunately, since then, there is no sign that they necessarily care, except they used them as weapons of war. I think the Kiteezi tragedy is terribly shocking. It's a shame. And I think instead of Mr. Museveni coming out to apologize to the people of this country, instead of maybe the minister related to this seeking to resign, and instead of government seeking to mitigate litigation against them, they come out in a very terribly cheeky way, Mr. Museveni, including the partner thing, of course, for the 5 million shillings. How do you pay for a Ugandan citizen's life with 5 million Uganda shillings? And anybody who's been involved in basic injuries or loss of property, in this case, what is 1 million Uganda shillings going to do to them? Mr. Museveni's breakfast is not 1 million shillings. You know that.
Yeah.
The guy's breakfast, our money is not 1 million shillings. It's actually possible not 1 million. You know how much State House spends in a day?
2.8 billion.
So those are sad. But of course, while we were away last week, I was in Tororo to participate at an event for 25th year of the cultural institution of Padola. Fantastic event. Cheeky, Mr. Museveni as usual, sent Jessica Lupo, decent lady, to represent him there. And I told this program that the youth of Padola were beaten for merely demanding for the tarmacking of Nagongera Road, which should have been done 35 years ago. It was a 10-year program under UPC government to be done in 1989 or thereabouts. It hasn't been done to date. Jessica promised that Mr. Museveni knows this one program. That evening, on my way home, I got involved in an accident. I will not go into the details because I just want to make sure that's a subject of litigation, and I'm very serious about it. But it was a very, very, very close, bad accident, thanks to the mess of Mr. Museveni's National Roads Authority. It was a clear negligence. Prior to my accident, 2 other people, 2 border borders had been involved. In fact, I'm told this earlier border was unconscious for 30 minutes. This is rural Uganda, things that don't hit headlines.
Yeah, and there are many stories.
I spent 3 days working around this because I know I am only one of the few who can seek to try and push this forward. And I want to make that return journey to continue this. So that was the week. But then come in and then
See, Joseph, you are assuming that we are living in a normal...
I know, my brother. You're sympathizing.
We are in abnormal times, so some things you just bypass and continue.
So instead of sympathizing with me, you're adding salt to injury. No, but no, these things have got to be done. I think Ugandans need to, I get your point, but I think Ugandans need to resolve to challenge this system.
I know.
Because the extent of impunity is extreme.
Exactly. So what just add on Kazooba's submission is that Ugandans have lived in toxicity for a while, that right now, when you do something that is not toxic, you look like you're abnormal. Toxicity is the new normal as we speak today. So when the road is like that, it's actually very normal to Ugandans today.
I was speaking to a senior public official, actually related, so not to prejudice the case. This gentleman tells me, a top regional chief, and tells me that, look, these things happen, and there was even a time that these things happened, and we couldn't pass through a road, thanks to the competence of this. And this is a very senior public figure, exactly. Whose statement is quite fairly relevant to this. And I wonder, I have discussed these things, and I ever met a minister related to transport, and told him about some of these issues. And he said to me, oh, Joseph, these people, your people, they're just interested in money. And so you're the minister responsible. So if you can sound so helpless and you tell me about our people, so in whose hands are we? Just like you see Comrade Museveni in his statement. So if you're a sensible government, if you're a government at all accountable, how don't you know that this mess was pending a tragedy? As I understand it, this was a tragedy that ought to have been resolved 16 years ago. So I think there is a public interest to mobilize and organize public litigation and try these failures. Unfortunately, whatever is to be done is still our money. And I think, I don't know whether our colleague Tugume was talking about this, I don't know whether it was on air, who was on air or not, about these questions of Congo, where this bunch of criminals go steal and plunder Congo, in our names, and now we've got to pay millions of US dollars every year. And we don't know a Ugandan citizen amongst the NRA bunch. We don't know any who's being held to account to say that at least maybe they should make a contribution, a meaningful contribution towards that. Even if maybe for argument's sake, maybe 10 million shillings every month towards that.
Because if you stole, please pay back.
Precisely, and they're walking scot-free. So I don't know, consider the topic of today, I don't know what we're going to do, but something ought to be done. So I linked the youth thing with this, that really the future of this continent, the future of this country, are young people. But then if you see the extent of impunity, it's extraordinary. That evening, at the site of the incident, nearly 30 people, the young people came about. In the conversations with them then, and the following morning when I was looking for witnesses, you find, you guys, you find tens upon tens of young people in trading centers. They call these days called the mini centers, my language, and these are lost generation, lost children in their tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions. And discussing statistics here, how impressive will be told, oh, they're involved in business, or they're involved in saving groups. So the perception that Uganda is actively working, no, it's a few people who are working. So it's extraordinary. So it's very, very dangerous. I don't know where to go. But anyway, here we are. I wanted to... Yeah, sure.
Just a minute.
Supplement on the Kiteezi thing. Oh, no, that is on the positive side. Yes, we are very bitter. And we should also be bitter with ourselves as citizens. That garbage there, it emits methane gas. This is very dangerous and causes global warming by about 19%. So even before this disaster, there has been disaster ongoing, only that it is so scientific that most people did not know. So the only option now available, it is not really to shift to another landfill. And I think some people have rejected it in Bokono.
There's also an Kumba, by the way,
yes, no, it should not go there. We should utilize the existing technology and convert that into fertilizer
and energy.
And energy.
I was coming
because almost 90% of that is organic. So,
okay. Please conclude.
So then, in conclusion, I think I'll not refer to the other because of time. I think I'll just link up to this and say, look, extraordinarily, one of the reasons why Museveni has never impressed me is because he told us a lie. Mr. Museveni told us a lie in Mwiri in 1980 during the election campaigns that when you showed us where cow dung comes from, so you claimed you had a clue and that if you ever came to power, you would turn cow dung into energy. So now what's happening in Kiteezi? So where are you, Comrade Kaguta Museveni?
Okay.
Do you get it?
I get you.
So really, it's not about transfer of this. In contemporary technology, it would be exactly as my brother here said. So when I was referring to the ministers involved, what do these guys get paid for, if not to think on our behalf? By the way, Kampala is the most highly polluted capital city in the world. Did you know that?
Yeah, at one point it was.
The most highly polluted capital city.
It had the worst air quality.
And this bunch burst in town. Mr. Museveni, after 40 years, he bursts in town, has no solution for this, has no clue.
Let's also first talk about some of the solutions to the problems Councillor Tugume, the young people are facing. Facing a lot of unemployment. He has talked about people, if you find young people in trading centers, they're adamant, there is lack of vision. Those who are starting the few projects that they decide to start, as he has mentioned, few of them live to celebrate their first birthday. In this country, when you have an innovation that makes 1 year, you have to go and celebrate. How do you think the young people themselves can solve these particular problems before we even go to the system? Or can we differentiate the two?
I was enjoying Joseph's English. It is very enjoyable. When he's speaking, you just listen.
It's from Mwiri.
I was...
It's from Mwiri.
I was just...
I've never been mesmerized by the thank you, Jesus.
I was just thinking now.
Thank you, Mwiri. Thank you, St. Joseph's Nagongera boys.
How can people really waste such a kind of English? It should be put to use. When he's talking to the youth, youth should really, enjoy him, speaking to them. Anyway, the solution to the youth need to be together. We need to reintroduce, first of all, the cooperative societies. The cooperative societies, and they were there actually.
Yes, they were.
Yes, we need to have 1 million youth from Karamoja, to have them, that is the Karamoja Cooperative Society, to give them 1 million haifas, because that's the area of cows, so that they can have those as their project, okay? And they open up bank accounts. We start putting some money for a period of 1 year when they are growing. And after that, we put up, it can be a small scale industry or an industry that will get meat, which will be brought to Kampala and other areas. Then we get the skins where we can make some shoes and the rest. We do so that the people have got employment and themselves among the 1 million Karamajongo, and they are not even there.
Yes.
That's why they will have to look for other people.
That's the biggest.
Yes. So among them, they will get a manager, they will get an accountant, they will get marketeers, they will get what? And this is a creation of jobs in Karamoja. Now we go to other area where they grow pineapples and the rest of the stuff. We put also a small scale industry and create a society, cooperative society for the youth. You go to like a place in Kayunga, you put it there.
And what was the argument for Mr. Museveni taking out the cooperatives? Because they look, according to your submission, they are very, very important.
There is something which is fundamentally, and deliberately done to make some people frustrated, so that they can keep up supporting the regime. When they make you be frustrated and you don't have money, any money that comes your way, you look at it as if it is very important. That's why some people are running to parish development model. But we cannot run a cash economy. We can't. Right now, we get carrots from Kenya. We get tomatoes from Kenya. We get pineapples from Kenya. Yes, I'm telling you, the best ones. Yes, we get rice from Tanzania. We get onions from Seychelles. We are getting apples from South Africa. Whereas we have land. We have everything here. And the land that we have is fragmented. The government has not planned to have land for the youth. Land is a factor of production.
Yes.
Without land, you can't do, it is a factor of production. You can't do much. So people need to be, brought up into cooperative societies. Then we build industries or small scale industries in the areas of operation within that area. If we can do that, we can create over 20 million jobs in Uganda. I calculated recently. We have land which is free. Our land of the government land, the one for UNRWA. It is just there. There is a fund which is environmental national. It is the International Environmental Fund, the one that supports planting of trees. If you can plant trees besides the roads, from here to Arua, from here to Gulu, from here to Kisoro, you can employ more than 2 million youth and women doing that work of planting trees. You have those who are in nursery, you have those ones who are planting, and the money is available. But we don't have planners. That's the problem with Uganda.
They have given you parish development model funds.
Let me tell you, the parish development model, 100 million per parish is like nothing. You are giving 1 million to a person whose problems and debts are more than 5 million. The moment you bring 1 million, it had already been taken. I'm telling you, people are borrowing from anything because they need to survive. Yes. School fees has increased. Food has increased. It is only in Uganda where you have a 50,000 note. Only in Uganda. Go around the world. Even Zimbabwe no longer has such a kind of money. No. The economy has completely gone down. Everything is up, is higher. So we cannot,
spending that 50,000 is very easy. And making it's
very difficult. So we must plan for the youth. And we have agriculture which is still very virgin, but government has completed nothing. We are on a spending spree. Let me tell you, my brother, that Uganda has got a debt of more than 100 trillion. But they are not telling us how they got that money and on which they used the money.
Yeah.
We are supposed to get that accountability. We are Ugandans. The accountability must come. We solved all the government parastatals. We want to know how much did you sell all those government parastatals? Where do you put the money? This is a question. This is not a question of politics. It is not a question of what, but this is a general question we want to know. Now, we have also other issues, you know, like what you are talking about of Congo. We want to know who went to Congo and who stole what. And where did they put that money? So that we can know the people that can be held responsible. This country needs resources. We can't run the country without resources. In 1999, after 3 years of capturing power, there were these who were involved in fighting for NRA, left the country with the cars, with the money, with the machinery, with everything, via data, allowed, I don't know how much money that they went with. We want to know, are they going to pay back? If they are not paying back, then how can the country run? With the resources being taken by another country, which is now proudly saying that for them they are developing at 8.3% per annum.
Yes, they are the fastest growing economy.
These are the things we're asking. We are not asking President Museveni that when I ask such a question, I'm removing you from power. No, I'm asking a general question as a Ugandan. We need answers. Some of these things, how do we move generally? Where are the plans, by the way? We have National Planning Authority.
There is NDP3. Isn't that the one we're following now?
Show us. What did you plan for Kiteezi? What had you planned? You know, nearby Kiteezi, what had you planned? Because we do expect that if you had put a factory that produces electricity, that produces charcoal, that produces everything, that wouldn't have happened. Because in other countries where you go every day, flying out of the country, you would have learned that in other countries they don't heap dust to that extent. No, they use it for electricity, they use it for producing charcoal, and people who are surrounding those areas are working in those factories.
And fertilizers.
And fertilizers. What did you do? We need those plans. Where are they? People are building now one-side houses, you know. They are creating slums. When people are saying, and when they want to build the road, then they say we have to remove them. No, we want to know really what is the government doing.
Is it planned?
Is it planned? Yes, we want to know. There is a National Housing and Construction Corporation. They have never built even a single room, one-roomed house for a Ugandan. For the last 38 years that NRM has been in the power.
They have a budget.
They have every year, and nobody asks, where do you put your budget? When Tugume asks, then his body should be killed. You know, these are the things we are asking.
Okay.
Can you please tell us? Because this is our country. So the youth can get, Uganda has the capacity of employing more than 30 million people. We can even get other people from India to come and work for us. Yes, as expatriates, I'm telling you, we have that capacity. But nobody, and the person,
Cuban doctors,
and let me tell you, the person who has that thinking, the person who has, they will never allow you to come nearer to the think tank. They will never. You cannot be appointed anywhere. They will keep on appointing themselves. They appoint their brothers. They appoint their sons, who are not even, who don't even have any knowledge about
and a few in laws.
Yes. Now look at this one. We get from gold, like only Kasanda district, we get 3.5 billion a day in Kasanda's gold, but has
it's
never
$1 million.
Yes, but has never appeared in the budget. You can't see it. There is money which comes.
No, but it doesn't. I've seen some exports we make of gold, and I was wondering, how did you export this much gold?
It is not. Uganda is full of gold, and they are getting, they are excavating. But those who are in charge of excavation, those who are in charge of excavation are the relatives of some big people. So it is not in the budget. They get the money. We don't know where they put it. You know, this is a serious thing that we need to think about, really.
Okay.
Yes.
Question.
As a matter of interest, can I also just use this to say, talk about gold? There were recent incidents in Abim, and I've got friends in Abim district, and a major discovery and something involved ministers, local councillors and officials, again without specific details. I'm told the officials came, visited and went. But the guys in charge of this gold, nobody can say. I think you guys, if you're watching, Ugandans basically just need to wake up. We are basically being ripped off, and actually use the word rep. Uganda is literally being raped by a section of our community which is completely unacceptable. Yeah, I think it should not be sustainable.
Please conclude.
Yes, yes.
But just to complement, if you don't mind, because that's where my idea was coming from. The housing construction. Just today, I was talking to a young lady who said that they should be, in their job, they should be occupying a senior government house. But they're not able to occupy a house because they travel from Kampala to another town to literally go ahead and work.
Yes.
But she remembers that her father occupied a government house, but that government house was sold. And it was sold to a people who none of us know whom it was sold. None of us know how much it was sold. In any case, we no longer know why it was sold. So this, in link to some of the issues that you're raising, are questions that must be asked.
Yes. Now,
As you conclude, sir.
yes, as I conclude, when I came to Kampala in 1990, I found in some places in Kororo was occupied by mostly Achoris and those people. How did they leave Kororo? How? You know, we're asking ourselves really that there are some people who have been deprived of their property and they have nowhere to report to. The systems in the court is completely dead. People are being chased away from their land, you know, and the land is being given to people who are just grazing cows. You cannot move people from a certain land, the whole village, and you bring cows and put their cows. Ugandans must live somewhere. Ugandans must have something to start with. So we are lacking a serious, you know, I don't know, because if I say this, they will come and arrest me here. No. So let me just leave. I'm telling you, we are lacking a serious person to lead this country. Even for only 10 years, Uganda can change completely.
Felix,
change completely. Now, the youth
Yes,
have
sir.
the opportunity to get jobs, and they have to wait. Of course, I don't know whether they will be still youth by the time we come to power, but they have to wait. And
I'm so sorry. I hope I'm not being rude. I'm not being. You know what? The point Tugume's made. If anybody comes to arrest you, please report them to my number. Number one. Number two, we don't need actually 10 years to reorganize this country. There is actually this saying going on around town that Uganda may never change and Uganda will take us 100 years. Actually, I reject that. I was actually with my mechanic not so long ago, and we're having a conversation in Kampala. He's a citizen of Uganda from Kampala, fantastic engineer. You know what? This country is so blessed.
yeah.
All this country terribly, badly needs and urgently needs is leadership. We just need this ordinary bunch to retire quickly.
Yes, sir.
In 8 years after independence, UPC transformed this country. Transformed this country, number one. Number two, after Idi Amin, in 4.5 years, even with NRA throwing bombs at Kampala, between 1981 January and 1985, we transformed this country. We created schools, created hospitals, organized structures, agriculture, cooperative. We did it. This country, just one parliamentary term. Just one parliamentary, and that's why they give it a period of 5 years. Some countries only 4 years. One parliamentary term with the clear sense of leadership, with the gunmen knowing that guns are to protect us, and we kill fear. This country can be turned around within 5 years.
John Pombe Magufuli did that in Tanzania.
He
5
did it?
years.
Oh,
He had
3
already
years,
made
3.5 years,
He
and
had already
some
made it
yes,
an income
absolutely
country.
correct.
Charles, I want you to comment on the political consciousness of the young people themselves, because he has painted of the problems these people are facing. How politically cautious are the young people today? We saw them on the streets recently. Do they know the kind of leadership, the kind of Uganda they want?
And they do what?
This question.
For 3 years, I've been helping some young lady. She's a graduate of midwifery. She came up with an innovation of pads that detect a woman who has given birth is overbleeding, and therefore, once that is detected, that woman is supposed to seek medical care. We have really moved with her to all offices. Good project. In our calculation, in our estimation, This is something that would employ about 100 youth and could bring in hundreds of millions of money. But several people that we met in government, they're thinking of something else. They're not here. They don't even care, really. They don't. They don't. And it is very frustrating for the young people that innovation is killed because of our systems. We have, I don't necessarily only blame President Museveni as an individual and his people, but the system also is not good.
It's their system.
It is a system that is very exploitative. It exploits the wananchi. In capitalism, it is only a few that are supposed to benefit, and the majority are supposed to work for those few. This is what we are observing. The only new dimension is that these few are actually not working. They are stealing. That is the very unfortunate part. So you have to deal with the system. You have to overhaul the system. Even politically, you have to overhaul this abused liberal democracy. You have to overhaul it. President Kagame practices what they call consensual governance. You agree on certain things as political actors. It does not appear to be bad. It is working. You can disagree on others, but you must have an agreeable agenda for your country. All political actors.
The common ground.
Yes. So if you've agreed that this is how we are going to handle development, that's how you handle it. If you agree that, for instance, there is going to be free medical care, free education, you all have to agree that you are working for your country. You can disagree on others, on the human race and other stuff. But our system here it has been abused, it has been manipulated as expected, because, of course, President Museveni wants to remain in power, and he has to do whatever he wants to do. However, can the youth do something?
Let's start from there, because that was the very main question. You gave it a very good preamble. Let's go for a short commercial break. When we come back, I'll start with Charles Kazooba, the youth themselves, the political consciousness of these young people. How can they use it to their benefit? But are they actually politically conscious as we speak? My name is Edgar.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi, welcome to the Political Dice.
empishi y'ebyobufuzi
It's controversial,
purely political,
well researched,
accurate and global.
Oyagala bya parliament oba council.
ya state house oba ghetto,
Ani ayugayuga ku ground.
ani gwe baabuze
Okimanyi nga Dr. Kizza Besigye aleese amaanyi.
olwo fadda bafutsoli abateeseemu obuvaazi
Oba yo DP eri kuki?
olwo jeema
Bano ba MKCG bo baddawa.
abo bafuna CDF baamala tebabanja olwo baba anti bange bali kuki
Abo bo akina kulabisa simanyanga posturing tebabiri mbali mu structure building. Naye ate ono ye.
ani oyo oba
Ye ali kuki?
oyo tumuleketa gampanyiga mawu
Ebyo ndabena birindira nokuda Political Dice ku the Alternative Dig Talk nange Teddy Tenja ewamune
Farida Bikobere
buli wa Sunday
esawa 2.
Hey Teddy, have you noticed how little attention science and health issues get in the media?
Totally, Edgar, yet science information is very important.
Yeah, for sure. That's why the Health Journalists Network is here.
How can they help?
They are a group of journalists dedicated to advancing public understanding of healthcare issues through impactful reporting on health and science.
Oh, really?
Yes, they meet up every month with scientists and researchers, policymakers, and activists at the science media cafes. They then relay what they discuss to the public.
Does that benefit us?
Oh yes, very much so. This helps with health and science literacy for a healthy Ugandan society.
Okay. I love getting informed about science and health issues. Health information makes all the difference between life and death. I'll look them up and engage them.
That's great. They are based all over the country.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, and they should be making real impact.
They are empowering health communities through journalism. Journalists can save lives just like doctors.
At first, we hit your gadgets with our state-of-the-art digitalized mobile studio with the debate on the road behind the wheels. Later, we launched our magnificent studios located on Plot 1A, Sewagude Close, Lukulinanganda, Machindye, Kampala, where we bring to you our must-watch shows like The Mighty Drive, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m., Hotline, Mondays, 7 p.m. As for legal matters, Twins at Bar, Tuesdays, 11 a.m. Wednesdays, 6 p.m. is Afro-Caribbean Link, where we connect Africa with the Caribbean. Voltage on Thursdays, 7 p.m., featuring a youthful panel. Interface with Dr. Kiza Besije every Friday, 12 p.m. with his call to action against injustices. Snap Talk, Saturdays, 6 p.m. with the trio. A must-watch, The Political Dice, Sundays, 8 p.m. with the duo that never stammers, and so much more. Watch us live on all our social media platforms. We are the Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi, Rogers. Can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes, it can. Although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be no more.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digitalk.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. You're watching the Hotline Show. We're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube at Digitalk TV at The Alternative Uganda. We are on both pages. So you can drop some of your comments, some of your questions, any submission, any remark that you would like to add on this particular program. I'll be able to read them subsequently as we continue with the program. I was still with Charles Kazooba. I was still elaborating. Charles, in 2 minutes, please highlight on the political consciousness of young people and maybe how can they be more impactful. 2 minutes.
Is 2 minutes a small time?
You've already used your first 7 minutes.
But like I was discussing during the break,
yes, sir.
You must first understand the political ground. We now have President Museveni, who doesn't have so many years ahead in as a president, of course. I'm not saying that he's going to die. But also, his government is like a wounded lion. It has capabilities to harm anybody in its way. Now, for the young people, in such a situation, number one is survival. How do you survive today so that you can live better tomorrow? That is a fact. Within the NRM government and that of President Museveni, already there are factions positioning themselves to succeed
Mr. Museveni.
Now, those factions are prepared to crush anybody in its way, in their way.
Okay.
Now, if you're a young person today, you're not dealing with a sane group. You're not. You're dealing with somebody who is wounded and is mad. That person has a weapon in his hands. He will hurt you, he will harm you. So, my advice to the young people is, number one, be aware. Be aware. Acquire as much knowledge as you can so that you are able to know how to survive today for you to be around tomorrow. I have been listening to various arguments from different political commentators. They say a mass action can remove President Museveni. I don't believe so. I don't.
What do you think?
Because if you dare to do it, you would then set in motion a situation similar to Sudan, that the army takes over.
Okay.
And that is even worse. You'd rather have Museveni in the meantime, after all, he doesn't have so many years, rather than having military fully take over and is in charge of government.
And that's the question I was asking him earlier on as we enter this particular discussion, is that, okay, yes, Museveni can go, but so what after? What next? Because you can take him, but is the opposition ready enough? And that's the question you're going to answer. But before you do that, let me come to you, sir. You are always among young people. You are sharing with them. And with authority, I can say that you understand some of the challenges and plights they're going through. What advice would you tell them? Or how do you think about their political consciousness? Do they know what power means? Are they ready for such a transition and change, such a responsibility? Because it's a responsibility to run a country.
I think by and large, most of those that I engage do. But I also get surprised sometimes, disappointed, and in many cases sometimes a little scared that a critical portion of them actually seemingly don't. Partly because of the culture, partly because of politics of fear, but partly including one of my experiences within the last 7 days, a young lady who is now an avowed young member of Uganda People's Congress. As of the early part of the first sitting I had with her, she was absolutely, completely convinced that she was under the circumstances where she has got to survive, like yes, Charles suggests. She was doing okay. That she has a job, she has got a secure family.
Yes.
She seemingly has a future. She doesn't like trouble. In fact, she does not like to dare certain people. And in any case, whatever she attempted to do would not amount to much.
Yes, sir.
And even worse, that nobody would listen to her. I left her reasonably convinced that actually, if she were to become 30
Yes, sir.
in her parliamentary constituency, if she were to become 30 in her parliamentary constituency, only them, that constituency would go in a direction that they so choose. In other words, if they opted against NRA or opted to push for a particular political line, of course, ideally I want them to push UPC,
Yes, sir.
they would succeed.
Yes, I'm listening.
The Oyam by-elections was not possibly the best taste, if you look in terms of objectivity, because Oyam had almost certainly been won by Dr. Pio in the general elections against the NRA soldier. There was a huge apparent claim that the soldier who died quite clearly had rigged those elections anyway. But number two, regardless of the facts, Dr. Pio was extremely popular already as of the 2021 elections.
Yes, sir.
And number three, Dr. Pio was generally a very good candidate. And so therefore, in any case, once the by-elections came, she started from a favorite position. But then one of the things that did was that an element of reawakening of UPC forces, including for various reasons, including people with whom I don't agree. But they saw it as an opportunity, but people mobilized and organized. But underlying was a commitment by most of the members of UPC, and so therefore the citizenry, that this thing goes there. So therefore, including people who were not necessarily UPC's lord or UPC saying, look, we think this thing is for UPC. People mobilized and organized and did it. Further, in Dokolo, in which I participated, that was a move in which anything NRA could try, and I don't know how much I should say. I have information that NRA at the top pushed a certain security line in Dokolo, and they were advised by their own very senior people around those centers that this one here is not pushable. And so, people power is real power. Our challenge is organization. Our challenge is leadership, generally. But I don't want to miss one important point that Charles makes, which is basically a very common thing I do with young people. And that is really the fact that young people must continuously seek to learn, continuously seek to grow, continuously seek to be relevant, continuously seek to be exemplary leaders amongst themselves. That really young people as individuals, and also therefore as cumulatively as a group of young people, eventually that is where leadership of young people is going to emerge. And in any case, the forces of evil, when they look at a grouping of people, even if it's the young people of the generation of yours, or my fantastic camera lady, or indeed the next generation of young people before our generation, you know, we perhaps like the mini bazaar of today don't say, oh, those people. We see leadership in it and we run with it. And thankfully some of us will be able to push. Now my point is, if that did happen generally across this country, these NRA guys are human beings, man.
Okay.
These guys are human beings. And in any case, some of them started from zero. The idea that these guys are untouchable, I reject it. Okay. But I generally agree that Museveni and this NRA bunch are militarily, substantially organized and mobilized. They pulled military resources, they pulled economic resources, they've got political bases. Some of them come so physically well-fed, using our money, and then they look very, very overwhelming. But the truth is that they're really not as much as that. Okay, because some of these people also know. But just a quick thing. Yes, sir. And just forgive me, because on this important part of the conversation, in 2011, after my votes had been rigged in Tororo, in Nagongera, in fact, I left for a mini holiday. Yes, sir. And the youth of my constituency, in my absence predominantly, organized and mobilized Charles and said, no, Ochieno has been cheated. But there was a young person who was standing for the town council chairmanship, you know, and this young person came from a relative disadvantage. You know, they mobilized and organized, and the guy won as chairman of the town council on a UPC ticket. You know, So those are youth mobilization, and by then they did it.
Yeah.
You know, so these things can happen. So my view is the idea that we should see these guys and not push them. My view is that we should push them. The only thing I'm saying is whatever we do not make it easy for this bunch who are trigger happy to come and release on you. You know, just mobilize, organize, do the numbers, and make sure you play as reasonably safe on the side of the law as possible. I'm just trying to imagine that all of a sudden people from Chinone, the other near Mbarara, that all of a sudden the feelings that the critical majority of people in Chinone simply say, no, it's Tugume, you know?
Okay.
Some dubious general from that area will really genuinely think twice.
Okay, sir.
To think we want to go ahead and want to unleash some kind of mayhem in those places. These guys are human beings.
All right. Just 15 minutes past 8 p.m. I will come to the next topic of discussion. I'm going to start with you, Council Tugume. How ready is the opposition? And the opposition want to look at political parties X, Y, Z. No. Generally, in your lens, how ready are these people to take power?
Where exactly is the opposition? That's what one would ask him or herself. DP signed a memorandum of understanding with the NRM. Is it opposition? UPC signed a memorandum of understanding with NRM. Is it opposition? Ochieno can refuse because himself did not participate in that signing. He doesn't even know what is embedded in that memorandum. But it's there because some people in the UPC are in the government and they are working together. So when you are eating together, then you are the same people. You are the same people. No, you are the same people. Actually, in Islam, they say, Akuni Muslim, Ali Muslim. It means a Muslim is a brother to another Muslim. So a political party which is enjoying the resources of a country together, they are brothers and they are eating together.
Exactly.
So generally, when you look, the opposition in Uganda, you even fail to. Recently, they talked about FDC that it received some money from the ruling party to run the campaigns. So somebody cannot give you money to run against him, knowing that you are going to win an election. So you fear to mention. I know I belong to political parties, and we sit in National Consultative Forum, NCF. This is a constitutional body that is created to create an organization that sits as registered political parties in Uganda. But you don't know how political parties are registered. It is like SPLA stroke SPLM. You remember the one of Sudan?
Yes.
They are together, they are the same, they have the same objectives, but they just separate by the way of, administration.
Modus operandi.
Yes, it is called something like operanda,
Modus operandi.
But clearly it's the official thing. It's NRM. It's the same, isn't it?
It is the same.
Yeah. Because there is always a military wing.
Most of the parties, 90% of the leaders of the political parties we have are actually either the former Kadogo or the former soldiers or the people or the cadres of NRM. And in order for you to register a political party, you must belong to that area. If you are not, you cannot register a political party.
Register the political party.
Let me tell you, even NUP itself. Right now, as I speak, people are going to be disappointed, but this is the fact. People, they have the only option now remaining, which people are thinking about, is NUP. But when you look at the NUP right now, it runs without a constitution. The person running the party is not known, has never been elected. You don't know how he received the leadership of the party, how he became 001 when there were people who formed the party in 2004. So you don't know. There are many things that happen within the parties that you people don't know. For us, we are in the parties. We are there. I'm a Secretary General of a party, by the way. And let me tell you, there are many things that you people don't know. There is no concrete opposition in Uganda. We have individuals like Dr. Besigye, like Road Mayor Elias Lukwago, those who really feel that there should be a change. But to say that there is opposition, a combined opposition, I'm not seeing it. Because even among themselves, they are fighting.
So how relevant are your political parties? Because that's the question. We have Ibrahim Semujunganda, he says they are going to register another political party after the fracas that was at FDC. How relevant are these political parties after a dispensation of more than 38
No,
years.
no, you see, in
Do we still need to work in these political caravans?
Let me tell you, in the parliament, when they formed the government, then they formed the opposition and they say these are shadow ministers,
yes.
shadow ministers. The parties we have are shadow parties, political parties. Seriously.
But how relevant are
No,
they?
they are not relevant.
Because in the
they are
past they used to
irrelevant. By the way, there is one party state. But people don't know. They just think that there is a party. There is a political party. Where? The politicians, individuals who are trying, you know, let me tell you, in Uganda, if you're a serious politician, you cannot survive in Uganda here. They will make life difficult for you. That is the difficult time Dr. Besigye has gone through. When they had charges of rape, defilement, and what, knowing that these are flimsy charges. But they brought, and they have to do it to ensure that you are completely down. They will kill your job. They will do everything possible to ensure that you are so poor you cannot even survive. When you see somebody is surviving, is even being given some money, then you know that there is a connection. They are working together. But for you, you can't know. You need to have studied political intelligence to know that somebody can be used against you when he's part of you. You will never, let me tell you, UPC cannot work with the DP, with NUP now, with even other political parties. They cannot sit together and form a formidable opposition group. They will never do that. You remember when they started, how was it called? TDA. What happened? It completely failed.
Of course they
it failed. Yes, right
it.
now, when you see Dr. Besigye is leaving FDC, Najana Nkumbi is going to Katonga, now is going to form a party. I know there are more than 200 applications to form political parties, and the Electoral Commission has completely refused it. But this one, it will have to give. It will have, because it will be, you know, separate. It will be cutting between the FDC, Najana Nkumbi, and the other. So there is.
So why are we talking about elections of 2026?
No, it is nothing. Nothing. Those who want to go there, they can go. Nothing. We have Electoral Commission, which is full of cadres. All of them are cadres.
Justice Byabakama. He's still even a justice as
Justice
we speak.
Byabakama is a cadre of NRM. He's a member of NRM. We know that. The Commissioner Tashobia, he failed in the primaries in Kajara. Commissioner Owol, he failed in the primaries in his area in Choga. Then there is Amurot, I think Amurot, he failed in his area in eastern Uganda, that area of what? All those are NRM people. They cannot even give you any space, even to declare anybody. That one you know. In all districts, there are registrars at the districts. How did they go? How did they get the jobs? Who are there? Do you know them? Do you know where they come from? They are not there to protect your vote. No, they are there to protect the interest of the person who put them there.
Okay.
So the only solution I'm seeing is that Uganda will have to burst one day. People will just come up and change the government. And when the
and that is what Charles is afraid of.
Yeah.
He's saying that
no, it will have to come. He has no solution for that.
Okay, let me even as you conclude, sir.
Yes, this thing of saying that the youth should, you know, wait for survival. Museveni never waited for survival in 1985.
That's correct.
Yes, when he felt that things were not going well, he even went to the bush.
When he
and
thought,
for him, he even had a job. He was being employed by UPC government.
That's correct.
But he went to the bush and fought until he had to come and change the government.
Okay.
So for us, we are so patient.
Let me come to Charles.
So patient with this man.
Let me come to Charles.
Just as Charles concludes, just for information to young people, the late Captain Kagata Namiti, the political commissioner of UNLA, who died rather mysteriously, that's also for the record, and NRA guys will not like this, described Mr. Museveni to us then, the youth, on the National Youth Day celebrations, that a man, Mr. Museveni, a man with excess ambitions.
And maybe I conclude.
Yes, sir.
You say people are not dying of Museveni. They are dying of many issues. How about these who died in Kiteezi? Where they died of trying to remove Museveni's government? No. You know,
they're dying as a result of Mr. Museveni's failure.
Yes, failure to do
Yes,
things. So there are many people who will die. Those who died in the Kasese, how many are they? How did they die? How about those who were burnt in Mukura, in Soroti. How many those who died in Baronyo? People have been dying, you know. But, you know, we must take up this initiative to change the regime if the regime is not doing what helps the people.
I hope you're not advocating for anarchy, sir.
No, me, I'm not, but it will come.
The change
will come. Whether President Museveni leaves power in peace, it will turn into pieces. Whether President Museveni now decided to die, when he dies, of course it will be in pieces. We have a period of 10 years when we are trying to, you know, to remobilize, planning, and bring back Uganda to normal. Wow. Because that's what he wanted. You're being
a prophet of doom.
That's what he wanted.
Let me come to Charles. Charles is an advocate of elections. Charles, are we serious when we tell Ugandans that in 2026 they should go and carry out a vote? Do you agree with voting processes in this country? Are you in line with the Mission 2026?
I've told you, my recommendation is that let those who want to see tomorrow do as much as possible to survive. So if it means participating in elections, go and participate. You never know, those political offices could help you to see another day for you to have a sane discussion. Now, first of all, Tugume admits, and I largely agree with him, that there is no opposition. That is a fact. And I don't think there's anybody that can contest that. Most of these political parties that posture as opposition parties, they're actually an extension of the NRA. There's a difference.
That's very true.
There is a difference, and a big difference. The people still running the country are those in NRA/NRM. The NRMO is weak. So if that is what you want to compete against, you can do it. But the other one, first of all, it is amorphous. You don't see it, but it is everywhere. So if you're going to fight it, how do you define it? Where is it? Where? Because it is in the political parties, it is in education, it is in health, it is in the military, it is in the police, it is everywhere.
What they call the mafia? Oh, that's different.
Because
deep state.
That is how the architect of that revolutionary group designed it. It is amorphous. For you to be able to fight it, you must define, you must map it out, where it is.
But you can't see it, rather.
For the benefit of the viewers, if we did a sample survey here, and we are not on camera, it is possible that you find about 4 or 3 are part of that NRA system. That is a fact. That is the truth. Now, I have also told you that what is going to emerge as actual position are the internal contradictions within the NRM.
You've always said that the real opposition is in NRM.
Yes, it is within there. Those internal contradictions. And how do they emerge? Because, like I've told you, they are factions. There are those who are saying, for instance, that after President Museveni, we need somebody maybe from another region. There are those who are saying, come what may, we shall have General Muhoozi as our next president. Now, there are those who are saying, we would rather negotiate with somebody like Dr. Besigye. If we can negotiate with him and the population is not going for our necks, well and good. He manages the transition.
Where are Ugandans in all this?
I've told you.
Because you mentioned the main core.
He's emphasizing the fact that there's a deep state in operation, and he's explaining
Yes,
to you.
I'm listening, but I'm waiting for where Ugandans are.
You must understand. You see, what we are dealing with is so complex. You don't think that it is just having a mere discussion. To uproot a deep state, you find out whether Felix Tshisekedi of DRC managed. He did. He failed. Uprooting a deep state from all structures of government is not as easy as you think. Don't think that you remove Museveni and then you just take over. No, it is not that easy. It has to be a negotiated
deal.
Transition. Now, Tugume says, we can fight this man. And I'm asking you, whom exactly are you going to fight? Who exactly are you going to fight? Show me any government entity that has no military today as we speak.
It's going to be very difficult to find it.
In fact, my prediction is, in the next 10 years, half of that parliament, those members of parliament will have come from either military or security. They will have a background of security. Half of that parliament. So, whom are you tackling exactly? This is what I also need to know. That is why I came to a conclusion as an individual. Let's see tomorrow. Raise as much as possible. So that when there is that sane discussion for a sane government, you are going to participate. Because you will not be invited in that discussion if you are not, if you are just down there. So be relevant. That is why I advocate for those who want to be in elections. Participate in those elections. If you can keep winning, the better for you.
The challenge is, most of them, when they've entered those positions, they've become aliens to the population.
Yes.
Blinded by money, blinded by, favors, blinded by positions. And this has been on record.
But do you think they are also fools? I highly doubt.
No, let me just give him an information.
Please do.
In the last elections, General Sare sponsored 15 members of parliament who came as NUP, and they went through there in parliament, putting on you can think that they're NUP, when in actual sense they were not. They were put there for a certain purpose, in agreement with the NUP leadership. So it is not the preparation.
That's a very big accusation you're making.
No. I'm a lawyer.
They liaised together with NUP leadership and General Sale.
Yes, they agreed that we are going to support them. We want 15. He actually wanted more than those, and the money exchanged hands. And they came, campaigned, and went through. They are there. I know them. I have always mentioned them on the social media, and nobody has challenged me. I know that. The day when they sat, they came from that place with 9 billion shillings and shared it. So in actual sense, what he is trying to talk about, the preparation has no say. No, it has no say. This is completely deep state that came with its,
specific agenda.
Yes, to rule the country for 50 years, even more. Yes, because now for us we are 50. By the time we don't come up right now, these people will just, when Museveni comes back and rules again 10 years, we shall be 60. And at 60, when you are in this kind of situation, you will not be surviving. So for us who are talking now, we shall be dead. Wow. And then the rest, who will talk? So they are ready to rule this country, to create, a choice dynasty, which we are saying, we
Charles,
are
conclude on your submission, sir.
So I just wanted to give you
the reality,
the real ground. If you're getting into the political game now, you must know what you're coming for. Opposition, I have told you there is no opposition. We shouldn't even be.
So we should just sit down with Mr. Museveni and try to find a way of saying, Mr. Museveni, please, let's understand
Now,
each
let me
other.
tell
You're
you.
living in such a way. Organize his transition,
Let
really.
me give you one idea that Museveni really fears. Museveni fears a headless, structureless force. Well, because you're not dealing with anybody specifically. And he's beginning to believe that these young people, especially you saw those protesters,
Yes.
they are not saying we belong to this organization. Eh?
No colors.
That is why you hear that there are charges of subversion, being funded by foreigners. That is the biggest threat to President Museveni. Being headless, being structureless. That you cannot define the organization you are
Fighting.
fighting. Now, for Ugandans to reach that level, they need a lot of political consciousness, which right now everybody is looking for money. It doesn't take
Nobody
sense.
has time to
Yes.
understand.
So to reach that level, it's not easy. You must have very well-grounded people that understand the political dynamics of this country, and then to give a direction.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me come to you, Honorable Ochieno. These people paint a picture that is really gloomy, that brings about an opaque sense of hope, really. And you are one person who's very optimistic about UPC being able to take power in this country and lead, lead again. But they paint a picture that this cannot happen. What do you think?
Not that it cannot happen. Of course, the jury's out. I think we are all saying that it's a crisis. But the only thing that could be said from my perspective is that we told you so. You know, as UPC, we told you that Museveni had his agenda.
Yes,
We
sir.
told you that Museveni had no base or no claim in 1980. We told you that Mr. Museveni had a mission to come and destroy the republic. And we told you that his war of massacre in Luwero was a terrible war against the people of Uganda. Exactly, shame on some of those Ugandans who, for very many reasons, opted to rally around Mr. Museveni, not for what Museveni stood for, but possibly some of them for their chauvinist agenda. I think I need to put that on the record. But beyond that, here's where we are. Charles is generally right about the ease with which a structured organization becomes a clearer target for Mr. Museveni. I can say that in 1990, when Obote set up the Presidential Policy Commission, Mwanga, as a vice president, had been put in jail. The president was obviously in exile. The secretary general of the party was in exile. Obote already knew how much Museveni had already gone to try and coerce people. And Obote suggested that he was going to create a collective presidency called a Presidential Policy Commission. It was only first amongst equals, meaning a chairman. So the chairman manages the commission, but generally it was a collegiate kind of leadership. That sort of partly helped us. Interestingly, because of what Charles says, you know, by the third year of Cecilia Gual's leadership, she had been already having issues. I don't know, suppose Cecilia is too early to put her so much on the spot. She was already having issues for which there was an association linked actually because of fact with Mr. Museveni and other people. You know that Cecilia left, and that in part contributed to some of the challenges of the party we had. Then after that, Dr. Rwanyarere came. Rwanyarere did quite well, but there was a huge amount of attempt to play around with us, and it's not surprising that maybe by today we have some of our leaders who've been taken. So Mr. Museveni does that. But that also said, it's Obote also who said that Museveni knows that the best way to kill a snake is to cut off its head. No, actually, maybe all of us are hinting, and we don't want to give this man too much, free intelligence. No, we basically need genuine, organized political leadership in this country, whatever form it takes, from organized political parties, whether individual UPC and others. But political leadership is required in this country, including from colleagues like Charles, who are substantially political, but they may not necessarily belong to political parties, or particular individual political parties, but who say this country is in a mess. We need to say no to Mr. Museveni and his hegemonic agenda of 50 years. We need to dismantle it. So the leadership is a thought, is a strategy. Part of what I have attempted to do, and I don't want to say too much, is also to recognize that one of the things you don't want to do is to line up, some of your ideas, some of your key lieutenants, because Museveni knows and likes to capture this. But I just believe strongly that this man Museveni came from wherever he came and found himself at State House. Surely, there is nothing special about Mr. Museveni that Tugume doesn't have, that Charles doesn't have, that you don't have. There's nothing. So the majority of young Ugandans in this country, what is it that is so specifically special about Mr. Museveni? That in a free and open way, when we disorganize, the fear, and we disorganize the hate politics, and we disorganize the desire for me, myself, and I, we can't do something. But yeah, please.
Museveni's strength, his biggest strength, is that he pays a lot of attention to his battle. A lot of attention. And he will create different scenarios to make sure that he gets the results that he needs. Now, our problem as aspiring politicians and other politicians is that we divide our time between politics and luxury. Now you are running around with women, you are drinking alcohol, and you expect to counter 70. It's absolutely a waste of time.
No, I think you actually make, if you don't mind, I think you actually make a very important point. So meaning basically this is a lesson for leaders and Ugandans who are concerned out there, including for ourselves, because actually take some key points from here. We just need to be slightly much more consciously organized. But for me, I genuinely believe that Ugandans just need to wake up and accept, as Tugume said, that whatever we have is not sustainable, and resolve that we need to change it. How we and where we start, I think, is the point of contention. But anyway.
There's something you wanted to submit.
Sorry.
Yes, I was just trying to tell him that, when change comes, it can always come. King Solomon had been removed 20 years when God was preparing King David to come in. So this thing of saying so and so, who is the opposition, who is what? No, God is preparing somebody if we go to that line of God. Yes, Museveni could be removed, but still in power. Because when King Solomon was...
King Saul, you mean?
Yes.
Saul,
it's Saul. Well, when he had been removed, he started doing the things that now President Museveni is doing. He started killing people, he started doing which is ungodly. And David was being prepared until he came and took over power. So I believe generally that there is someone being prepared. I don't know who is who, but somebody could be somewhere there being prepared.
Could be Ochieno here.
Yes. No, we are for a mission, by the way. And we shall not rest until Prime 7 is removed from power. And he's seeing it himself. We shall not sit down until the man is removed from power. For the last 40 years, we have been fighting. And we're still fighting. And we are still moving on. Okay? So we don't care whether he's removed by will of God or by ourselves. But our mission and our conclusion shall be that the man is removed from power. Then we bring Uganda back to the people. And that will be, even if me, I will not be there, that will be enough.
Okay, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
just
as you conclude,
no,
sir.
Indeed, that Comrade Tugume, as it happens, the only reason I was shaking over the UPC leadership, or the UPC deal with NRA, is that it's not a UPC thing, but individuals. It's true that there's an arrangement, but there's no written document, and I know that. There's no written document, but there's an agreement, and there are up to 2 formal agreements with particular individuals that include quite clearly my friend and brother Jimmy and his wife. That's very unfortunate. But that said, as a leader of UPC, almost certainly, if all is well, I can tell you that most of our members are very saddened, but most of our members are also very sober. But I also just want to use this to link up with the two, that actually beyond really the question of what I experienced in UPC, all that most Ugandans need. And unfortunately, most of them are young Ugandans who really don't know much other. So we've really disadvantaged them in terms of leadership and focus. Is that no, people need a direction, people need to be detoxed of fear, people need to be given a sense of purpose. Leaders like ourselves need to act much more exemplary in a manner in which to perhaps motivate people like the Edgars here and my little majors down there. And then we shall get a critical number of Ugandans. They don't have to be the majority. A critical number of Ugandans, when they say no, enough is enough, they will seek to change Uganda. And of course, we don't have another option but to change Uganda, because Uganda, where Museveni has taken it, is actually very sad. Uganda.
I also believe that in taking power, you don't need many people, because Mr. Museveni used 20,000 people to take Uganda. 20,000 only. But sir, how do we forge a unit? Let me ask you. He was using arms. Sir, how do we forge a unity? Because Uganda feels like it is divided. There are many people who don't identify with other people.
Uganda is terribly divided. It's the most divided since independence. And Museveni did it and did it.
How do we forge a unity?
No, basically we just need to detox it. That's the truth. Because part of this conversation from here, you'll realize, I don't know who of the two colleagues were saying, when you undo television and you put people in a pool like this, you know, it's actually amazing how commonly we agree. Last evening, I was with a fantastic friend of mine who's a senior member of parliament I want to say a senior member of parliament from NRM. And the conversation we have as brethren, people who know one another from a distance, we hug and we want to hug more, want to carry one another as brethren, you know, going forward together. We have a common agenda in this country. Part of the issue is interests, part of the issue is patronage, part of the issue is fear, and part of the issue is not knowing which way Mr. Museveni is planning. And my view is that we cannot allow Mr. Museveni to be the one determining for us which way to go. The majority of Ugandans need to do it, and particularly younger Ugandans need to be getting much more involved. It is no longer enough that a 35-year-old lawyer, 39-year-old doctor, 33-year-old accountant thinks that because they're posh in some cushion corner of a property in Kampala occupied by a dubious foreign bank, they think they're in charge and they've got things, when actually they don't know their own destiny in the next 10 years. Many times I tell those who are 25 and 30 that I meet that actually in the next 30 years they'll just be about my age, and whatever happens, it will be crazy. If the Uganda that they will be having as Kampala is a Uganda like Kiteezi. So they really need to wake up and get themselves from it. And in any case, nobody pays us. So nobody is going to pay them, you know, in order to save the Republic of Uganda, where allegedly many of them are preparing to become parents. So in any case, which school are their children going to go to? So the sooner they actually seek to claim back the Republic of Uganda, which is possible anyway, the better for all of us.
The better. Well, thank you. These young people like transport refund, so because people you call them to teach them something, and they want money. But I'm giving you a skill.
They want me to pay them in order to...
Exactly. Don't you get that? In your meetings.
Too many.
There's
a few requests actually in my phone here right now.
At times it is necessary. People have moved. But anyway, for us in Yankore, we have one thing, that when somebody cooks food and eats it alone, you pass behind like this and defecate what is remaining.
You terrible, you don't even put cow down on the real
no,
thing.
For us,
you guys, man.
When he's eating, you pass behind like this, you defecate in the saucepan. Yes, because now, Kazooba should not scare us with the Sudan issue, with the Saddam, with the...
No, but it's on record that the young people took power, but they failed to manage power.
No, whichever comes,
there wasn't anything
whichever comes, let me tell you, when there is a jigger in your food, you have to remove it, even if it remains a wall, because the wall have to remain there. Yes. So you cannot walk with it to repain you, but it's necessary. So for us, we are saying there's something wrong. You cannot be a leader for 40 years, and again you want to come back, and before even you come back, you want your son to be the one to take over. This is not a kingdom. It's not a kingdom.
In the Republic of
Uganda has got many people. For us people, whom they found when you were 12 years, we have made 50 years without doing anything. You are here. But the people of my age are doing completely nothing. We have gone to school, we have got even PhDs, but completely nothing. They are the blockers. Somebody is 50, has no wife, has no land, has no house, has nothing completely. And you can't talk. We cannot have a generation which is going to be deleted from the rest of the generations simply because Prem 7 says, me, I have to be here. When he's giving out jobs, he brings his own people. When he's bringing, whichever he wants to bring, he will bring 1 million to the whole village, and then for him, he takes 100 billions. At home, he is using 2.8 billion a day. That money can build schools. That money can bring drugs to the hospitals. But he doesn't care about that. Ugandans are suffering, and enough is enough.
How are Ugandans going to unite? Because it feels like there is a certain region that is not working with a region. Certain tribe does not agree with the other tribe. But they don't even care. But
how do you unite with somebody who has finished eating and for you are hungry? Even if it is a dog, you kill a cow, you eat it. Even the horns, you make the buttons of the shirt. Surely it will also gang against you. People are eating, others are suffering. You are hearing, by the way, at these days, I almost collapsed recently when I heard that one MP had 164 billion at home.
Yes.
You can imagine. I don't know how many years I will work to get even a billion. But I'm a lawyer. I'm very educated. And when you talk of a Ugandan who cannot manage to pay school fees for a younger kid, of just 200,000, somebody who cannot pay rent is hearing you taking such amount of money. And we sit together on the table and talk. No, some of this we shall just bang their heads because we cannot sit with thieves. By the way, in law, it says when you find somebody committing a crime, and you don't use your means to stop a crime, you yourself become felonious. Yes, you become a felony yourself. You found somebody stealing, and you also sit there and watch. They will put you as a accomplice, and that's why people are being jailed. We cannot see people stealing the public funds, then come and sit with them, as Kazooba says. You romance them, come.
The speaker said that when they steal, they share with you.
No. There is nobody they are sharing with. They should steal their root and eat it, and they will pay for themselves. And we are ready, by the way, that when this regime goes, those who have stolen the resources of this country will have to face a commission of inquiry, and they will pay back. We should tell them frankly, this is not a joke.
But there are those that have been convicted, and we already know they took money, but they don't
let me tell you, it's kind of bringing, wherever we talk, you bring guns on the street. Wherever you talk, you bring the red top. No, Idi Amin had the best army in Africa. What is it? You cannot even ask for who was the general of Idi Amin. Where are they? Yes, even Dr. Bote, when he had a very good army. What is it? So this is not to scare people. No. Stop scaring people. Do good for the people. You still have the chance. You are still within your term of service. Why don't you listen to the people? That's what we are telling you. But if you refuse, Ugandans will gang against you. They will gang against, and it will be a problem.
Okay.
Let me tell you, here you see us talking like this. It is not because we are angry at Museveni. It's not because we are angry at NRM. We know members of NRM who are sleeping hungry. We know members of NRM whose children have not gone to school. We know members of NRM who have completed nothing. They have dropped out of school. I know the Bahima whom we were studying with doing law, and they did not complete because they never had the fees. This is not about tribal. This is not about anything. It is about the country. One person owns 100 arcades in this country. One person like this is building one in Barara, building one in Bari, building one in Iguru. You see these mushrooming buildings. When people are completely dying without anything, they are being built by thieves, and we are saying you must account for the country's resources. If you don't, we shall make you account.
The level of income inequality in Uganda too much. Mwesige Joram, thank you so much for watching. It's always a privilege having you. He says, indeed, prisons are politically working. Waze naongea. Opposition is unseriously not serious. Some people are fighting for positions in opposition to work with Mr. Museveni and his government. Thieves are in charge of the economy and politics of Uganda. They call themselves leaders. Charles, is there something that you want to submit as we come to the end of this discussion?
There is a book I read about Kenya, and it shows you how since the days of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, people in the government were steering left, right, and center. Then Moi came, again, the same thing.
Yes, sir.
Chibaki, same thing. Uhuru, Kenyatta, same thing. And now Ruto. Why do you think there is that consistency? Are you saying that people don't see, or they never went to school? Ultimately, it is the systems in place that are a problem. You remove individuals today, and you bring in other individuals, they will do the same thing. Same thing. Steal, abuse people's rights, and oppress the population. So we must, as political thinkers, we must think and come up with a system that removes all those ills in society. Otherwise, you remove Museveni today, another person will occupy his seat, and the same things that Museveni has been doing, compromise, patronage, coercion, he'll use those same approaches.
Ochieno seems to disagree with you.
But you go in UPC
and find what?
And see what is happening. That these are the things that are happening. Go to FDC, they're doing the same thing.
I saw FDC using
DP.
guns to beat up journalists, and I'm like, hey, since when is the police behind
you have a leader of opposition, that is Bobby Wine, who is dispensing transactions that are illegal because there is no law, and is not in the prison.
Which transactions are those?
Because if there is no constitution, which decisions is he supposed to make? Okay. Nothing. So my point is, let's not get excited by individuals that you replace this one with this one. Rather, we look at what the actual problem is. Are these systems favorable to us? Should we rethink? Because you will panic, you will rush and bring a new group. The same story.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Thank you so much. Sir, you are the last person.
I'm just not sure what Charles is saying, because in any case, the Kenyan example of starting from Kenyatta to date, changes did take place in Kenya, granted. But because changes took place in Kenya and there's corruption, does not mean, therefore, that it would have been appropriate for us to have continued with Kenyatta and more and more and more and more. No, we're simply saying that, well, we need to change the government. But in any case, anyway.
Let me try to explain.
In any case.
No, he has misunderstood.
No, just you don't have minutes. Let him first conclude.
Our focus should be on the political system.
Okay.
And I was going to respond to that, because in any case, it's quite clear idea. You're basically emphasizing my point. The political system under operation is a system Museveni came with from the bush in 1986.
Okay.
So it's about Museveni, NRA, and whatever else is happening here. In any case, as I was trying to say, but one government, you cannot, you can't cite 3 corruptions minus one thing of a mean in golden thing in Congo, and Parliament intervened, and of course there was action. But you can't pick on any major corruption thing. So no, this is a culture, this funny guys brought from the bush, and we just need to get rid of them. The point is we need to get rid of Museveni, his NRA system, and the politics of patronage. We need to get rid of it. In any case, I don't think we should be saying that we need to find a way of dealing with this, find a way of finding an alternative political system before we get rid of Museveni. In any case, we don't have space to think. Today, you go to Makerere University, you go to major university institutions of learning, you find professors and they're speaking in tongues. You meet top lawyers, including judges, and the speakers, if they're speaking in tongues. That's extraordinary.
Joseph, everyone is corrupted. The church leaders, they are given the cars as corrupt.
The bishops and archbishops and things.
Yes, the Muslim leaders are kids. So everybody is corrupted. So we cannot sit down and talk.
So no, we need change. And as I said, I am absolutely confident that in Uganda People's Congress, minus people who are eating with Museveni, we've got leaders, we've got thinkers, we've got systems, we've got structures, we've got everything. And for us, all we need to do is to reclaim our space and move. And I'm generally quite confident that in all the other political parties and organizations, including those ones that are in bed with Mr. Museveni, their political leaders, that will emerge from this, including young leaders. And also finally, I have been at a particular university and I met some surprisingly 6 young lawyers from one particular university. And these are guys who are from about 22 to 27. And it's extraordinarily thinking capacity these guys have. They just need to be guided. They just need to be given the space to reclaim their country, be nurtured like some of us were nurtured, so that we take this country forward. But this country can survive. This country can survive without misunderstanding.
Parliament was led by NRM people, isn't it? They brought opposition. How are they behaving? They're actually thugs.
Okay,
because the system.
Okay. That gentleman is
Which opposition? You yourself, you agreed that there is no opposition.
This gentleman here is called
You agreed that there is no
Joseph
opposition.
Ochieno
So even in the
from
parliament,
UPC.
there is no opposition.
This one is called Sam Kazooba. He's the Executive Director for the Center for African Affairs and Diplomatic Studies. And of course, last but definitely not least is Counsel Gideon Tugume. He's a lawyer and of course a journalist by profession. It's exactly 9 p.m. Thank you so much for everybody who has been watching, the messages you've sent, and of course for following this discussion. Remember, you can find it on YouTube. You'll find us on Facebook. My name is Edgar Mathew Karuhanga. God bless you, God bless Uganda, and good night. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.